Well, back to the Stephen Knight Show. Remind you all over social media, Facebook, Blue Sky, and of course our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please comment, subscribe. And Shaq, where can they find out more about Let's Be Clear podcast?
At official LBC podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and TikTok. We just did a actual recap session of the Kendrick Lamar performance, so that is out now.
And season 2 coming soon, right?
Season 2 is in the works.
All
It's
right.
a lot of work, a lot of changes. Very excited, but yes, it is coming.
Can't wait. All right. Well, there was a lot of symbolism in Kendrick's performance last night at the Super Bowl, so we're gonna go through some of it. The first one I said is when Uncle Sam says, "This is the great America's game." It's a double in intro. He's referencing America's most popular sport, NFL, and he's introducing a story about a game, America, the game of America, which is politics, capitalism, etc. Now, Uncle Sam being played by Samuel L. Jackson was intentional. He played the house slave in Django Unchained back in 2012, where he was used by the slave master to keep other slaves in line. A black Uncle Sam represents the affluent black people at the top used to do the same in the modern day. Modern day. All right, Kendrick plays an unreleased track from his G and X album. He says the revelation is about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. It's clear that during one of the most watched events on television, Kendrick intends to highlight the real American game. Now, after Squabble Up, Uncle Sam chimes in saying the performance is too ghetto and asks if Kendrick really knows how to play the game. Uncle Sam, who is really more of an Uncle Tom, represents entities that try to censor, control, and profit off the Black American culture. In response to this, Kendrick plays humble with his dancers in a notably divided American flag formation while bobbing their heads yes and compliance. The next shot shows Kendrick and his dancers on a prison yard. The lights in the background saying warning, wrong way, representing the need of a redirection of Black people in America, economic, social, and political. After this, the street light scene. Street lights represent the dangers of growing up in the inner city, where Black children are told to be home by the time the street lights come on. Uncle Sam scolds Kendrick and his group for using the culture cheat code, referencing racial profiling. Young Uncle Sam asks the scorekeepers to deduct one life. Kendrick teases playing Not Like Us, but pivots to playing ballads with SZA. Uncle Sam says that's what America wants, nice and calm. Kendrick interrupts Uncle Sam's nod of approval and says 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than music. K-Dot finally performs Not Like Us, complete with Compton superstar Serena Williams crip walking in the tennis skirt. This isn't just a shot at her ex Drake, but a nod to her being criticized for crip walking after beating Maria Sharapova in the 2012 Wimbledon match. Kendrick ends the show with TV off, continuing in his choice to defy Uncle Sam's demand for Kendrick to comply and play the game of respectability politics. The lights in the background say game over. It can also represent the end of his beef with Drake as well as the end of America's game with the revolution. So this was all symbolism according to the people who studied this performance. But I was talking to someone and they said that while they understand it and they appreciated how, like, kind of what you said, Shaq, with Super Bowl, people are supposed to kind of not have to think too hard and just be able to enjoy the performance, not have to go back and do research. But do you think it was important, not both of you, do you think it was important that he did add this symbolism to his performance, especially being on the, being the first solo rap artist to perform? He's all about the culture, and for the city that the game was held, do you think that was important that he threw in that symbolism?
I would say yes. I think that although I do agree with, again, knowing the audience and doing that, I think that again, he took an opportunity to showcase art. I mean, again, if you're not familiar with Kendrick Lamar, this is what he does
Mhm.
all day, every day. There's not literally, it can be any song that you may have heard that even if you're out and trying to dance or even in a club or setting, if you do hear a Kendrick song, it's still going to be um he's always going to spit something that is controversial, that he calls out some political or social issue whenever he raps. He also has that relatability when it comes to being black and growing up black. So only things that we can identify with, and I think that is important. I think that with the symbolisms, I think one of the most important ones um that I think that he displayed was when they were lining up with SZA, when they were saying
Mhm.
all of the stars. And I think they kind of like all of the stars were lining up in
Mm.
the as the stars of the flag.
Yeah.
He did this whole play on the flag throughout the performance, and I thought that was very important to understand. This is what we're told what it means, but this is Uncle Sam is telling us what we should do, and this is
Mhm.
what it actually means. So there was a lot of this is a case that this is I like to have performances where you can kind of break them down, and I think that it was important for him. And we
Yeah.
can't really say, what we wanted, but this is what he chose to do with his performance for the
Yeah.
show. And
Yeah.
I think that it definitely represents him as an artist all the way around. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it delivered well. And hey, I mean, if you didn't like his, you can always go back and watch Usher's. Because I always say this: Usher had something that Kendrick probably needed, and Kendrick probably needed
Oh,
something
yeah.
Usher needed.
Yeah.
Because there was not one song that Usher didn't perform.
Mhm.
At the same time, it was like Usher was just throwing like it wasn't all over the place, but it was a lot at
A
once.
lot going
While
on.
Kendrick's was more calm, composed, intense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it though.
Yeah. I was gonna say, oh, I was Don Lemon. He was on live on TikTok today. He does it often. Don Lemon show, and he was talking about just the backlash of MAGA and what he considers racist. Not all MAGA, but the racists as well, who were complaining about the performance. And he said that there have been a lot of artists that perform, and they're country artists, and they have their right to perform. They have a hip hop artist; they have the right to perform, but he was playing some audio from people sharing their experience, and there's this white guy who was talking about they had a big Super Bowl party. I guess his family, 100 people, and he said that when Kendrick came out, his family, like, who is this? One of his uncles, who is this?
Oh
And
wow.
saying we don't understand nothing he's saying. So he was telling them the lyrics and explaining to them how to perform. His uncle said this is horrible, and ended up calling him an N-word, calling Kendrick. And he said
Mm.
after the halftime show, he and his part of the family left. He said it's shocking how racist people still are. But he was saying, aren't y'all against pedophiles? He said that's what he's rapping about. So what is the issue? And so it's just interesting how, and I'm sorry, I have to blame Trump on some of this for making everything so political. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because there have been plenty of times the halftime performance, I could care less who they were. But I didn't complain about this the worst performance. You know what I mean?
And my thing is too, let's keep it a buck. There hasn't been a more the last person who did something very political at a Super Bowl halftime show was Beyonce.
Yeah, your girl.
And when she did when she walked out in that black and all this Black
Right.
Panther and pro black,
Mm-hmm.
ensemble and did formation.
Yeah.
So, I think that how you choose to utilize because music, like Brittany said, it's not all about ass shaking and having a good time sometimes. Sometimes people would if you give an artist an opportunity to
Yes.
showcase their art and they pour into that
Right.
wholeheartedly,
Right.
that's what Kendrick Lamar. That's why I say if you're not familiar with him, it won't hurt to just listen to a few of his songs and you'll understand like this guy literally has art artistic value in everything he does.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was it was definitely expected. So
yeah.
you know.
Brittany, anything you want to add?
I do. I have so much to say. I think that it's so easy to critique, but correct me if I'm wrong. Jay-Z is picking these halftime performances, from what I understand.
Well, Rock
He's
Nation
the
is
Rock Nation, right? Like his label.
It's called, yeah.
Yeah.
So in my mind, they are intentional about who they are picking.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Kendrick was picked for a specific reason. It was such a big to do about why Kendrick was the best option for this selection over Wayne and Cash Money. And then he gives y'all consistent Kendrick Lamar, and it's still an issue.
Right.
Like, I do think that, like, at some point, like, we smite our own nose and then be mad about it. I think that if it was an issue about how Kendrick is always going to talk about political awareness, Black people advancement, and things like that. If that was ever an issue, Beyonce split the stage with Bruno Mars and a white man. I don't know. They could have did that with Kendrick. And I do think it was like you do have to have a perfect balance of playing a song long enough. Like Usher did not play his hits long enough for us to enjoy them. That's why it feels so ran through and chaotic. And then keeping it too long, and then we be bored with it. Like, I do think you have to find a perfect timing. But like for me, I think even with Kendrick playing the whole game aspect on a PlayStation controller.
Right.
Like it was all very intentional. But if you go back to his Grammy performance where he performed in chains, I heard that was banned from being reviewed again because it was so
controversial.
Yes. So it's just be like, what did y'all expect when I was begging for it to be Wayne and Cash Money and YMCMB? Everybody had, Wayne does drugs. He got dreads falling out. Like, and now it's like, Kendrick is too black. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's
like,
true though.
give me something, okay? Like, I'm confused. Like, we can't keep just finding stuff to complain about.
And people use that. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have honestly, and like I said again, I think the pregame show was because like you said, that was a conversation. I thought the pregame show did. Whoever thought to incorporate New Orleans culture and celebrate the people that were there, and because they're hosting, I thought they did a great job of highlighting that.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga performed. I don't know if she was directly on Birdman, but she was in the quarters.
Yeah, she did.
I thought that was like, wow.
Yeah.
In the streets. And you had John Baptiste, you had Lettucey, you had Master P, you had the Southern University. I honestly thought that was magnificent. And some people would have said you could have used that for the halftime show. You know what I mean? So either
but
way
that was the whole point of begging for Wayne. Like, to your point, that's why we was like, give New Orleans the time to have their whole culture. You had Big Frida, you had all that bounce music. You got so much to do. Zydeco, it could have been a country western thing again.
But I think the only thing about that was, when it came to New Orleans, I think honestly they will be celebrated in other ways. I think it was just the fact that it was a big conversation about hosting the city. Do you bring in the people that host, from that area? Because when they had it in Atlanta, who performed? I can't even remember when they had it, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of Atlanta artists either, So, and that's either here nor there. But I do think you make good points because we have to stop giving people the ammunition to come at us.
Exactly.
And when you're doing that, you're actually giving people the ammunition to say, oh, well, this is this and this and that. And it's like, where they get that from? They get it from us.
Yeah.
They use our own ammunition that we target each other against us too. So we can't keep doing that. And that was a really good point. So I agree.
Yeah. Our last story. So on Sunday night, Kanye West's website had a variety of products for sale. But by Monday, fans noticed that it had been slimmed down to just one item, a t-shirt sporting a swastika graphic. Excuse me. After images of his website made rounds on social media, the Anti-Defamation League stepped up with a response. As if we needed further proof of Kanye's anti-Semitism, he chose to put a single item for sale on his website, a t-shirt embezzled with a swastika. The swastika is a symbol adopted by Hitler as the primary emblem for the Nazis. It galvanized his followers in the 20th century and continues to threaten and instill fear in those targeted by anti-Semitic and white supremacy. If that wasn't enough, the t-shirt labeled on Kanye's website has HH-01, which is code for Hail Hitler. Kanye was tweeting vile anti-Semitic nonstop last week. There's no excuse for this kind of behavior. Even worse, Kanye advertised his website during the Super Bowl, amplifying the beyond his already massive social media following. Now, it looks like his account was disabled after several days of various tweets that touched on many topics prior to logging out on the app. Kanye thanked Elon Musk for allowing him to vent. Now he talked about Diddy was his mentor, and of course the anti-Semitic things he said. He was just all over the place. And he recently made a post saying people think I'm going through something, but I'm not. And here's the thing: where's he been? And then he comes back and he stirs all this stuff up, and he'll probably go away again. What's really going on? I'll start with you, Brittany.
I have so much to say. Like, okay, first of all, like, why are we surprised that Kanye is crazy as fuck? Like, he got his wife selling ass on the Grammy red carpet, and then tweeted like, "Mission accomplished. My wife was the most Google person, and if y'all want to say what would your mama think, you don't know my motherfucking mama." I was like, "What is going on?" Like, he is the Lulu, but. Sometimes he hit the nail on the head. Hear me when I say this. I watched that Diddy documentary, and Diddy had a lot of friends, and nobody has nothing nice to say about him. Now everybody coming out the woodworks dragging this man, right? Mind you, I don't know what happened. He's innocent until proven guilty. But follow me here. Boosie just tweeted about this Super Bowl with Kendrick Lamar performing the diss track about Drake, and how Drake had all these friends and people he put on, and now everybody's singing A minor in the crowd and don't nobody like Drake. Like, y'all don't have no loyalty. And I do think that is something to be said. Like, y'all like people when they up, but baby, when they down, y'all be the first one to jump ship. I do think that, to Kanye's point on that is, that I don't know.
Well, people also said Boosie wants a Drake feature, but
I do think that too. That would be a great song though.
but I get it. But what they're saying is it's really just about who won a diss battle. Kendrick versus Drake. I don't think people don't rock with Drake. I saw he's had a concert in Australia or something. It was packed, jam packed. You know what I mean? And so it's not like Drake is gonna lose. This was like last week. Drake he can come back. Drake has hits. He has a huge career, and people love Drake music. He actually is about to release some new music, from what I understand.
I don't think Drake can come back, Steve.
He can come back. I don't think it's gonna happen tomorrow, but I think give it. You know how microwavable social media is and pop culture. Think about that guy who killed the CEO of the health insurance company. He was all over the media. They don't never bring his name up anymore. You know what I mean? Everything's so microwavable and on to the next. Let Drake have a hot song out. People wait till the summertime.
But you don't think the cancel culture, like the way Kendrick went in on how he a culture vulture, how he's a pedophile, how he uses black people influence and how he a lame. Like,
R.
I
Kelly
don't
had Rumors
see.
from how long, and he was still selling albums, still on number one.
Okay, I get
Did he
that.
have Rumors for 30 years? Did he have Rumors?
Brittany said, wait, now, not Kelly now, baby. We
Hold
moving
on,
on.
now.
You know,
I'm
Robert.
not giving up my R. Kelly music, okay? Because R. Kelly, you know, like who he is as a
Listen,
person is different from the music he made.
I was on live, and I always
Yeah.
had music playing on my live on TikTok. And R. Kelly song came on, they were like, oh, in the comments. I was like, oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I had to turn it.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to let me have my music. That's a classic is a classic. However, I do think the entertainment industry just shows you it's no loyalty in this
There's no
game.
loyalty. There's no loyalty.
It's no loyalty, and I think that
They make you
Kanye
break
touched
you.
on that with the Diddy thing. Now, I'm not saying it was right, but I do see his point that y'all want to be up with these people when they be up, and y'all want to be in the photos with them and all these parties with them. But baby, when they down, I don't see nobody coming to their rescue, being like, Drake, let's do this song now. You know what I'm saying? You could probably get a Drake feature Boosie for $1 right now. So.
Well, I mean, we see it happen to all these stars. One out accusation, and people trying to cancel him. You know what I mean? So it happens all the time. But I do think Drake can still have a career. I don't see Drake still has a lot of people that love him.
I don't.
So
Shay, what you think?
Yeah,
Shay, what do you think he can come back or not?
Okay, I'll touch on that. So going back to Kanye really quick, I think Kanye just have we're not shocked. Kanye has mental problems. Allegedly has mental problems, right? I remember, and I honestly, I was a huge Kanye fan. Like literally, I really was, because Kanye is he was a musical genius to me.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite references that he had, where I feel like he was struggling, but he was being truthful. Maybe it was whatever. The last album that I really enjoyed with Kanye was The Life of Pablo. And he has a song on there called FML, where he's like, and if you ever listen to it, just listen to it. And I think The Weeknd has it's in the background with vocals and stuff. But basically, he has a line where he says, one thing I need to let you know, you ain't never seen nothing crazier than this nigga when he offers Lexapro. So it's like, he has those issues. And I feel like he was talking to Kim, and he was like, it was the whole verse was so crazy. And then the last time the last thing he said, but I'm gonna have the last laugh in the end, because I'm from a tribe called Checkahoe. Like, it was so, like, Kanye is crazy when it comes to the music, but that I always refer back to that song, because it's like Kanye does have those problems. Now, the whole thing about his website, honestly, I just checked and it's gone. I don't know if y'all, but there's nothing there on his website. I got notified and I seen it, and it was crazy. The way all the symbolisms, the Nazi, all of that stuff was crazy. I did get whim of the tweets too. So I was just like, I think that, going back to what Brittany said, you know, the whole thing with his wife on the red carpet, I think Kanye is mentally not there, stable. I think that he understands these moments where he wants to be viral and wants to be seen and heard. And I think he plays on that because he knows what's going to get people attention, whether it's true or not. I do think that there are some truths that what Kanye does say sometimes in the midst of his craziness. George Bush don't like black people. You know, like all these things that these outbursts he's had over the years has led up to him, you know, being in that lifestyle in the entertainment industry, having these problems, experiencing loss. You know, it's a lot for someone to take on, and I don't think he ever got the necessarily help. And it doesn't excuse him. Because honestly, I feel like what he did was very disgusting, very distasteful. I don't want to have anything to do with anyone that associate anything with being a Nazi or celebrating it. That's just period, full stop, you know? Now moving on, like, I do feel like when it comes to, you know, the beef with Drake, I think he can come back, Brittany. I don't know. Like, I feel like Drake has enough impact. I don't necessarily hate Drake, but I will say this one thing that people don't talk about enough. Who really destroyed Drake on a diss track was Megan Thee Stallion. And that's just period, full stop. A lot of people thought
what song?
His was for Drake. not for Nicki. Nicki took that straight.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If you really think about the line, they don't be mad at Megan's. They made at Megan's Law. Kendrick also makes a reference to being a pedophile. But if you look at the context of Megan's whole song, it was specifically about Drake because she talked about BBLs with the scars. Like her whole, I think that one thing, and I remember this specifically when she did an interview about her diss, and Charlamagne was like, "Who is it for?" She said, only thing she said, the hit dogs will holler. I'm not gonna say who it was for, but if you look at her whole disc, all of that was geared for Drake. And I feel like Nicki just took the straight because they was already expecting her to do something. And she felt embarrassed about it and whatever. But that's besides the point. But I feel like she is the true underdog when it came to destroying Drake. And after that, we all seen what happened. BBL, Drizzy, Kendrick came in, everybody else came on in, and it was like, whoa. So to your point, that may be something that when you say people fall in line, because she kicked it off and wasn't afraid to be like, okay, I'm gonna get you because you speaking on me and I'm not even talking about you.
Right.
And then everybody else who had issue probably just went on here full force. So it might be a thing. And we never may know what, Drake does behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. Like some people may just, because he have the city on lock, or like Steven said, he's a huge artist and he has a large fan base, and he tops the Billboard charts and all these things. People probably say, I ain't for to say nothing to Drake because I know people, the GP is gonna be against me because they love him so much.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you got Megan was just like, get all that. I'm about to go at him.
But I think he had his time. Like he had a long run.
Since 09,
long run.
But
and
that
it
doesn't
just
mean
was
about
like
to be over.
back to back. I just think like,
I do think it's gonna be hard for him. It's all about timing too. So I do think that going back and forth right now, that would be stupid.
No.
I think he's gonna wait till everything's similar, like Steven said, because people have ADHD. They talk about this and they go to the next thing trending, and then he's gonna come out with something. Now, I do think leave Kendrick alone because that battle, honestly, going back and forth with Kendrick, like we've all said, Kendrick is
I saw what happened,
and he talks deep.
Yeah,
that was never your battle anyway. Like you should have kept making the pop songs and the club songs and just saying little things, and maybe but the moment you went deep with Kendrick, it was over.
Couldn't go back. And I do think he needs some time, but I think he definitely can come back. But I think he leave Kendrick out of it.
That is game over. It's a wrap. We done.
Even you saying now, Steven, he trying to drop music. It's too soon. Like nobody cares about the music he's dropping right now. Like,
I don't know when he's dropping it, but the producer he's working with said he has some I forgot not love songs.
He could go back to that.
That's
smart. That would be smart.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you. I do still listen to Drake's some of his old music.
My room is dope.
Yes. Like
no, I'm saying, did y'all see the crowd in Australia?
Yeah.
Did the people in Australia? They weren't the people in the Super Bowl. Like the people in the Australia crowd was a whole different crowd than the Super Bowl.
I understand, yeah.
But I do hope that Kanye gets the help that he needs because I love Through the Wire Kanye. And if he could go back to that Kanye,
I miss the old Kanye, not the new
old school Through the Wire Kanye, like he is a musical genius. I will give him that. Like
Heartbreak 808s, like all of that. And
some people that be so smart be real crazy. They said Albert Einstein was like low key retarded. Like some people be so smart that they just really do be having mental issues like that because their brain just thinks on a whole nother level. Like, but I said all of that to say, like you said, Shay, like Kanye be having some points he be hitting on. It's just his delivery be bad. Like you said, we talking about Katrina and you talking about George Bush don't like black people. Wrong time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I know, and I'm trying to understand the correlation, but it's just like, no, you need someone should have been gathered Kanye and just told him stop. And I feel like even with Jay-Z, there was a moment where they were close, super close, of course.
Yeah.
And then some things happen and you break in and saying different things that are not aligned. And y'all know Jay-Z is not for the you're not for to say nothing about him or his family, Beyonce, nobody. Like he not having that at all. Like I'm going through a breakup, but you talking about coming to your wedding and you get mad. Like,
But Kanye seemed like the type of patient where it'd be like, you got to take your meds. And he like, I'm not taking these motherfucking meds. Like, he
Yep.
seemed like the patient that will not take the meds.
Yes.
Like, you know, like that'll be like throwing the cup behind his shoulder or something. Like,
Yeah.
he seemed like that hard patient. You got to like pour it down his throat. Like,
Right, hold him out over. Right.
But unfortunately, I think, you know, I would say this and I'll be done. This is one of the moments where they sell your soul. You know, I think that Kanye just not like everything is not worth a moment. It's not, you got to read the room. He's very much tone deaf in this times. Like, you really have to understand where we are, especially as Black people and how we feel. Like, that is not something that you do for a moment, for you know, your wife being Googled. Like, you embarrassing us. We don't want that, because we all know they look at us all the same.
Right.
And so you have to take some responsibility with your platform and who you are to say, I'm not gonna say nothing at all, or I'm gonna support. And I'd rather you just don't say nothing,
right,
and just leave it at that. But you making stuff worse, harder. Now we trying to defend you, but we gotta hold you accountable. Like, you should just shut up.
That's true.
I'm gonna say, I got one last thing I'm gonna let y'all go. I think Kanye would have been a great artist before the internet. Like, bro, in Motown time, when he was not easily accessible to people and all we would get was like records and stuff, he could have spazzed out in whatever little city he lived in, and they could have put him in some rehab or something like, and hid him from everybody and just gave us the records. We would have never known. And Kanye would have been great. You know what I'm saying? He could have did all the little crazy shit he wanted to behind closed doors. Like, but some people did not need the internet. Like, he was great artist, wrong decade.
Exactly.
I mean, yo.
We go even there. Listen, Shaq, thank you always for stepping in for us while people are out. Tell us again where we can keep up with the podcast.
You're welcome. Please keep up with us at Official LBC Podcast. That is on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Season 2 will be soon. We just released a episode, kind of like wrapping up the Super Bowl performance, so you can check my co-host and his opinions there as well. So yeah, check us out.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much again. And when we come back, our interview with Andrew Culkin, his book, Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. Right back after this.